right, we're going to be doing our math review POD. I'm Miss Mulder. All right, so let's take a look at number 1. These are those number chains, which I really love how they get us understanding how numbers work, especially powers of 10. So when I do 6.5 times 10, all I do is move my decimal to the right one, which is going to give me the number 65. And if I'm doing 6.5 times 20, well, 10 is just double 20. So whatever double 65 is, if I can double 65, which is 130, because 5 and 5 gives me a group of 10, 60 and 60 is 120 with another group of 10. So I was able to just double right there. So now I have 65 times 2 tenths. Okay, so if I have 130, and I'm moving this decimal over 1, 2, then I'm going to be moving this decimal over 1, 2, which is 1.3. I'm going to show you this on my calculator so you can believe me. You've got 6.5 times 2 tenths, and you get 1 3 tenths. All I'm doing is playing around with that idea of how the decimal is moving, okay? It moved over twice on this end, so it will move over twice on this end. Then I have 65 hundredths times 20. And with this one, my decimal has moved 1 over to the left from here. So when I'm going to be doing that, but my decimal moved over 2 this way. So my answer for that is 13, okay? So just play around with these numbers. When you have something like this, if I compare these two, because my decimal, if I look at this one, my decimal moved over 1 to the right there, and so my decimal will move over 1 from the right there. So when you're thinking about numbers, always think about how they're connecting or how what you already know about them can help you solve something new. Okay, moving on to number 2. This one is 2/3 plus 1/9. Obviously, I know that I cannot add 2 fractions because fractions are very snobby. I can't add 2/3 plus 1/9 because they don't have the same denominator. They're not from the same family. So I drew a model here, and I have 2/3, right? You see my 2/3? And I know that I can make my thirds into a 9th. So I'm going to split this up 3 more times. And now I've converted thirds into 9ths. 3, 6, 9. So I want to add 1 more 9th in there, and I want to see what I have. Okay, well, that's 9 ninths. So I am getting 7 ninths as my answer. I'm going to make that 7 more obvious. My answer is 7 ninths. Now, if you do it another way, you can say 2/3. I'm going to convert this to a 9th. So that would be 6 ninths plus 1 ninth. Now that my denominators are the same, I can add. And I have 7 ninths. So there's 2 ways that I can add fractions. We're going to see this model again later on in the math review. Now I have number 3, 6 times 4 fifths. So for number 3, we're doing 6 times 4 fifths. So I need to know if this were, let me draw a little quick model here. If this were the number 6, I would need to know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How much 4 fifths is equivalent to, okay? So 6 times 4 fifths, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm going to set it up like a typical fraction multiplication problem. If I put 6 over a 1, it makes it a fraction. To multiply fractions, I multiply across the numerator and the denominator. Across the numerator, I have 24. Across the denominator, I have 5. I know this is a fraction greater than 1 because my numerator is greater than the denominator. So now this is the same thing as saying 24 divided by 5. So I can say, well, 5 times 5 is 25. That's too much. 5 times 4 is 20, and it gives me a 4. So I have 4 and 4 fifths. I'm not going to say remainder anymore because I know that this number continues to be divided by my divisor. So my answer for 6 times 4/5 is equivalent to 4 and 4/5. I've seen a lot of you guys writing your answers as decimals. Let's look at what that would look like as a decimal. 24 divided by 5 is 4 and 8/10. So 4/5, which is equivalent to 4 and 8/10. That does make sense because times 2, 10th, times 2, 8/10. So it's the exact same thing. All right, let's keep it moving to question number 4. I need to know how many kilometers are in 424 meters. I know that in 1 kilometer, I have 1,000 meters. So I need to go from here to here. My number is getting smaller, so I'm going to be dividing. I need to divide by 1,000. Here's the nice thing about that. If I have 424, I love the metric system. All I need to do is move my decimal over 1, 2, 3 places because that's how many zeros are in 1,000. 1, 2, 3 places. So there are 0.424 kilometers in 424 meters. Moving on to number 5. Cruising along. I have 2/3 minus 1/6. All right, so I drew my same model of 2/3, but I know 3 can become a 6. 3 is a factor of 6. 6 is a multiple of 3. So if I just split this in 2, now I have 6. 2, 4, 6. So I have 2/3. Here are my 2/3, and I need to take away 1/6. So what I have left is how many 6? 1, 2, 3. I have 3/6 left. And if you're familiar with equivalent fractions, I know that is equivalent to 1/2. The way it would look as far as an algorithm is concerned is I could turn my 2/3 into 6, which when I saw it here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, minus 1/6 is equal to 3/6, which is equal to 1/2. Okay, moving right along to number 6. I need to find the area of this rectangle. It's got a length of 5 1/3 and a width of 3 1/2. I cannot multiply mixed numbers. I have to turn them into fractions greater than 1. To do that, I multiply the numerator by the whole number, and then I add I multiply the denominator by the whole number, and then I add the numerator. So 3 times 5, 15. I have 16/3 times 2 times denominator times whole number, 6, plus 1, 7/2. 16 times 7, let's see, 10 times 7 is 70. 7 times 6 is 42. So I have 112. I'm going to check that on my calculator just because I want to make sure. It's a nice thing about this home study. You guys can be checking your work with a calculator. 112, I multiply my denominator across 6. So now I can leave this and I can say 112/6 meters squared. I can leave it like that, or I know that this is a fraction greater than 1, and I know that 112/6 is equivalent to 112 divided by 6. Well, 6 goes into 11 one time. And 6 goes into 52. I'm running out of paper. 52 minus 48. Well, let's see. 48, get me to 54. Add another So it's 18 and 4/6. So I can say or 112/6 or 18 and 4/6 meters squared. I want to make my answer really clear, and I can also show you that work on the calculator. 112 divided by 6 is equivalent to 18 and 4/6. So if I do 4 divided by 6, there's my 666, my repeating 666. So this can be my answer. Either way would be fine. I'm going to challenge you to bring your your fractions greater than 1 to a mixed number, because it's a little more relatable. It's a little bit more understandable of a number. All right, let's go into your POD. Okay, for our POD, Mr. Player has 21 stores. He wants to distribute 5,775 baseballs to 21 stores. He wants to distribute them equally. I know this right here is division. Then he wants to take 2,014 and distribute equally to 19 stores. Well, I know when I'm distributing equally, I'm dividing to 19 stores. So he's going to be, and this is bats, 2014 bats. So I need to divide 5,775 distributed equally across 21 stores. Okay? Well, I know that 21 goes in, and this is baseballs. I'm just going to write right here what my unit is over here so I don't forget. 21 goes into 57 2 times. 21 times 2 is 42. And I bring that 7 down. I know 21 can go into 157. Let me think here. If it goes in 5 times, that would be about 100. If it goes in 6 times, that's giving me around 100. So I'm going to say 7 times. And 7 times 21 is 147. Bring down that 5. All right, 105 divided by 21. How many 21s are there in 105? I'm going to try 5. Perfect. So that gives me 105. There's 0. So each of those 21 stores will get 275 baseballs. Okay, but I'm not done. Then I've got this 2,014 bats to distribute equally to 19 stores. So down here, I'm going to be doing 2,014 distributed equally among 19 stores. Let's see, 19 goes into 21. There's 1 left over. 19 doesn't go into 11 at all. How many times could 19 go into 114? Let's see, if I round it to 20, 20 times 5 is 100. Let's see if 6 works or if I go over. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, it worked out perfectly. 6 times 19 is 114, and I have 0 left over. So that is 106 bats. So I need to make sure that I'm answering in a complete sentence. receive 106 bats. So each store will get 275 baseballs. Each of the 19 stores will receive 106 bats. All right, guys, reflect. What did you do well? What can you improve on?